Darlings, we are back for another take on another couple from Love is Blind season 7. This is a Monica Davis, 37-year-old sales exec, and she works in the education technology industry. Um, According to Monica, she totally kills it at work. I mean, hello, a sales exec, you better be killing it, girl. No, she has that. I am totally killing it, and I am the bar look to her. And girl, hats off to you. Although she hasn't had much success in her personal life. Um, we also have Steven. Steven is, I think he's a 34-year-old electrician. And they both quickly connected. Obviously, it wasn't an issue for her that his line of work is more like blue collar and hers is more like white collar. But I have to say, where I work, our tradesmen, electricians, plumbers, um, refrigeration mechanics, and the likes, they make buku money. I'm not in the trades, but I do work alongside them because, well, I work in healthcare. And whenever we need something fixed, we call on the gents and the gentlewomen. So, yes, but yes, they do. Woo, they make some serious money. And I mean, like, over 120 a year. Okay, of course, there's like, that's the minimum that they make. Of course, there's like the tax, but still, whoo, lots of money. That's just, I think that's their first year salary, and then it jumps from there, and whatever else they do outside of that, to have something extra to pad that. Anyway, so back to the duo. Monica and Steven, for me, from the screen, it seemed like their personalities like just quickly sparked. They just aligned. There was like almost an instantaneous attraction, even though, again, their lifestyles are total opposite. She tends to, according to her in her confessional, she tends to go for physical connection first, and also tended to care in the past about her potential boyfriends, credentials, where they've traveled, are they educated, the likes. Somehow, though, she falls for Steven as they speak about the importance of communication and not necessarily expecting perfection, and also along the vein of appreciating their partner's flaws in a relationship. And even though Steven, admittedly, on one of their dates, he admitted to her that he technically, quote, holds the title of being a cheater, end quote, after he admits that he had an emotional he had emotionally cheated. I didn't know how to put that together. He emotionally cheated on an ex-girlfriend in the past. He feels he didn't deserve being with the girlfriend, so he had, I guess, emotionally cheated on her to maybe make himself feel better, like he's enough or he's worthy. Monica does give him grace. So I'm like, oh, okay. I will have to say, kudos to him for admitting that. Not very many will, and on such a wide platform. I mean, this is watched everywhere. The Netflix is everywhere. So kudos to him for admitting that. And she also, Monica adds that Steven, may have been too hard on himself in the past. And so this sort of like brought him to come out of his cocoon a little bit, and was just like shot her. He was like, I'm going to shoot my shot. And he asked her for another date, to which she said yes. So it goes smoothly, right? They even discuss politics because this is DC. I am surprised none of the other contestants were shown to have discussed politics, or maybe they intentionally, uh, I wouldn't say skip, but they intentionally sheed away from this divisive topic, this subject of politics, because it is divisive. And and the current um, temperament of who is and isn't voting for whichever is running, whichever, whether Republican, Democrat, or otherwise, it's such a divisive topic now more than ever. However, for Monica and Steven, this subject really does run smoothly. I mean, in my eyes, I was like, wow, okay. Um, Steven, for his part, he said that he's a veteran, so he describes himself as a centrist, and he also feels like as a veteran it is his duty to also vote, for the candidate he feels strongly for, and does admit that he voted for Trump in 2016 because, quote, he didn't like Hillary, end quote. However, he says that he has, during which time, has had some, kind of introspection, and now dislikes the way that Trump had handled his time in office. And he also claims to have voted for Biden in 2020. He also happily admits that his first vote wasn't his most educated vote. So there's room for improvement, right? What can I say? Ooh. Anyhow, so they also talk about, and I think a lot of the people in the pods don't want to talk about it or don't want to touch on it because it may give away potentially how they physically look. But this duo was like going to take on all of the hard questions, hard subjects that need to be discussed, such as race. Steven, he says for the most part he identifies as white. I mean, on the screen, if I were to see him on the streets, I would just be like Caucasian, done, right? Or ginger hair. He does also contend, he does share with Monica that he discovered that instead of being partly Italian as his family had been claiming for the ages, at least half of his dad's DNA came from West Africa. So, which makes him partly African. So Monica enjoys the story and how, like, Stephen, he said that he researched, or his sister had researched, not his sister, sorry, Stephen had researched West African countries. Monica's mom, she is a mixture. She's biracial. She is Honduran from her mom's side, and her dad is African American. So she appreciates Stephen's openness to experiencing new cultures. There was a moment though that made me cringe. I will not like just sweep this one under the rug. It did make me cringe when he called her mutt. Although they both described her as, like, she and he both described her as one. But I was just like, okay. But if she agrees with it, takes it in stride, who am I to, you know what I mean? Such is life. It may not be something that I would necessarily agree with, but if she takes it in stride and he said it in a way that wasn't laced with negativity, then handle it. Go ham. So, anywho, it just, I already know that they were going to start calling each other like boyfriend, girlfriend soon. And we have Steven even saying, like, he loves her. He's considering having kids with her. They trade I love yous and promise to be weird together. Like, okay. Okay. It's kind of cute though when we see both of them crying and genuinely, dropping the three little words everybody wants to hear about when they are in the pods and elsewhere and outside in the real world. I I thought it was cute when Steven asked Monica to marry him by saying Monica J. Davis. If you're starting to get a little bored with that last name, I was wondering, will you marry me? Ah, I thought that was cute. Of course, she wasn't gonna say yes. I mean, hello. Was there ever like a question in anybody's mind that she wouldn't say so? Um, she did. Jesus. She did have to get a little dig in though with her response by saying, "I love that you're so proud of the fact that you are barely that black." Just like, girl, she just had to get her dig in. Okay, well, it's funny. I think it's funny, but anyway, I have to say though, I kind of am irritated with him a bit because every time, almost every scene that they have, almost, I didn't say every single scene, he's like trauma dumping. Is it me? Is it just me? There was this constant need to just share this like dark cloud, to be comforted. Okay, I will admit it is a very vacuum packed, hyper speed sort of dating where you have to genuinely try to see if you can find a connection. If you can find a connection for like, right into the sunset with, into like eternity. And you have to share certain things. I feel though like it wasn't it wasn't going to come off as genuine as much if he had tried not to, or maybe in his mind he was thinking, you know what, I would be as genuine as I can be, which includes traumatizing experiences in my past. But I also feel that this may have been a ploy for him to tug on the emotional heartstrings of Monica or anybody else, because it's like, sir, it's almost like a Leo, where, oh, my parents died, so I inherited a lot of money, I'm rich. Along that sort of vein, where I've had a lot of trauma in my life, you know, feel bad for me, and I do feel bad for him that he's had that sort of trauma in his life. But to constantly harp on it, it almost seems like you need to be constantly emotionally hugged. Like you have to have almost constant comfort from someone. And maybe this is how you find partners, romantic partners, but it almost seems like you're not really going to put in the time to grow an emotional relationship as well as a physical relationship with someone if you're constantly having to dump on them the hurts that has happened in your life. I feel I could be wrong about it, so you guys can let me know, but I do. It's just like, sir, do we have to constantly harp on this? Do we have to constantly like shovel this out over to somebody else? It's too much. I feel like, sir, I think if you don't already, a very good therapist would be able to assist you in this, to be able to discuss with them, all the hurts in your life, and to be able to productively move on from that. Uh, Not to forget, but to move on in a productive manner where you feel like it wouldn't burden you anymore, and you wouldn't be burdening somebody else with such like grief. But again, that's just me. Anywho, so they ride off into the sunset, but I'm just like, uh, they go into Mexico, um, with the rest of the people the contestants who got engaged. And I don't know, I felt like, was it just me, or it seemed like there were a lot of cracks already beginning to crack around their love bubble. Like when Monica brought up Steven's blue collar job and his 2-year degree in a testimony. Is it confessional or testimonial? But she also added that she doesn't give a who. It's still a bit concerning though, because I think for her it's starting to get real. Like she won't admit it like now or then at that time, but I feel like the difference in their job status in her mind will become a sticking point, whether she can continue on with him in a relationship or not in the real world. They do still, like have their daytime or whatever. I think they got acupuncture, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. And I don't know why, but they started an extended conversation comparing the needles to Steven's ability to rise. I will say that. And honestly, I felt bad for the attendant, because the attendant was probably thinking like, girl, can you wait until after? Like literally, I'm just here for a set amount of time, and that's all I'm getting paid for. And just like, oh my lord, oh my lord. Although I think Steven, during their like the couples beach party, kind of got a little bit too comfortable, because he called Gareth, Mr. Shrek, a middle class Chris Evans. Chris Evans is the actor who played Captain America. Okay, anyway, I mean, I can see the semblance, but Gareth, yeah, but Steven, okay, all right. But somehow, though, I mean, even with that, like, goofy kind of vibe ish, when they were back in their suite, there was like an immediate switch of that vibe. Because when the two of them were recapping, like, so what happened with the party, sharing it from their own perspectives and their thoughts on like their dynamic versus the other couples, Monica, I don't know, she interjected and she said that she can't get a word in. It just was so odd, because she like shushed him but then didn't say anything. And I don't know if there's like a deeper issue that we don't see, like, we haven't been shown on the screen, but she's called him chatty, but it's just like, I think in the pods, she said she loves how he's chatty, like, he communicates. I don't know, like she said, what did she say? Oh, let me see, where are my notes? She said he has to learn to share the space. Wait, did I write that? Did I annotate that correctly? I'm paraphrasing. Let's just say I'm paraphrasing, because I'm not sure now. Dang it! If I have to go back to the episode where she said that quote, share the space or something like that, and that it's kind of not getting funny, like she's getting annoyed, and then went on to change the subject to another couple. So yeah, I'm so I'm confused about that. Like, there has to be something else that is bothering her. And, it's kind of like she's starting to express it in a different manner where um, she probably doesn't know how to broach the actual subject that is giving her this sort of irritated opinion of Stephen. I'll just say that. Anywho, darlings, that's all we have for now. Oh my gosh, I talk so much. I will talk to you all, darling dears, later. And hopefully, will not forget to leave grace for others. And don't ever forget that you are all kinds of fabulous. And also, remember to journey in gratitude. Talk to you later, my darlings. Bye.